Welcome to I Communicate on Full Service Radio, AM 830 WCRN. To join the conversation, call 508-871-7000. Now, here's your host, Mark Altman.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of I Communicate, Finding Your Voice. I am your host, Mark Altman, and happy you could be with us on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. And I'm here with my guest, Melissa Glenny, president of Franklin Professional Staffing. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, in my mind, this is a special show today. We talk about advocating for your wants and needs and how you can improve in your communication skills at work, at home, in sports, in school. But what makes this show special is I have an expert in what I call R&R, retention and recruiting today. And Melissa is hired by companies all over the country to help them in recruiting good employees and making sure they retain good employees and leaders. And Melissa, so excited to have you on the show.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, Mark.
So, Melissa, what a tough industry staffing is. So I got to start and ask you, where did your passion come from to put yourself in the firing line of the staffing industry?
Yeah, it was something that was totally unbeknownst to me. And then within a couple of weeks of getting into this kind of work, it just totally lit my heart on fire. Originally, I wanted to have a production company in the music industry and connect talent with producers. So, so I went from A&R aspirations to, as you say, R&R.
Oh, that's great. I love it. So that's really interesting. So I guess knowing that you originally had aspirations for the music industry, what are some qualities and characteristics that you've kind of grown up with that you think serve you well in dealing with employers and employees, so to speak?
Well, when I was young, I used to get up at 3:30 in the morning to practice. And I think discipline is paramount, really, and tenacity and just, sticking with it. Because, dealing with people, it's you never know what you're going to get. And, it's exciting because for that very reason that you don't know what you're going to get. But sometimes it's also an emotional roller coaster. So I think discipline and tenacity were two things that I took away from my early years that have really served me well.
So, Melissa, at Mindset Go, we have a wellness program called Body, Mind, Bottom Line. Mm-hmm. And the premise of that program is how companies' bottom lines have changed. Where in the old days, everybody was singularly focused on a company's bottom line. But now people have started to wake up, and now they're really focused on their own bottom line as well as the company's bottom line. What are you seeing when it comes to people who are out there seeking jobs? Do you see that expectations and requirements have changed from the job seekers themselves?
Yeah. And, as you were asking me that question, I just, a quick tangent, I have to flash to a conversation I was having with a client last week. And I was so happy to hear this. They made a major acquisition this year. So this client says, we really didn't make much bottom line at all. She said it was about $100,000 at the end of the day. And she said, but we gave half of that to our employees because we really feel like they should be sharing in what we have. And so, in a year like that, there were so many businesses that I've worked with where in a year like that, it would be so easy for them to say, we don't have money for raises, we don't have money for bonuses this year. And to hear that attitude and the behaviors are shifting so that people are thinking more in the context of the whole of the company and the health of everyone in the company, not just the health of the people who have the powers, right? So okay, so sorry for the quick tangent.
No,
there,
that was impressive.
Yeah, so and I think that that kind of leads into what people are looking for in their organizations is really just to know that number one, that they're going to be seen as an individual who has ideas and valued for what they can bring to the table. I think that goes a long, long way. And the other thing that I often will recommend when I'm talking with customers about benefits and how employees will be attracted to them and what will keep them there is, really just getting to know the individual and being able to speak right to, what's meaningful to the person. There's certainly things that are more common, but I think that it's important not to assume and to ask the questions of the people that you're employing.
Well, I think you bring up a few great points there. When you talk about getting to know the individual, So typically when you interview for a job at a company, you're provided some kind of benefit package. And the benefit packages, the standard benefit packages have sick time and vacation time and your health benefits, and there's standard things. What are you seeing that are included in benefits packages now that are much different than in the past that people are now prioritizing?
Yeah. A great benefits package used to be exactly what you just named off. And, if the employer paid 90 or 80% of the premium, that was considered pretty good. That kind of stuff now I find is really just gets you to the table. Beyond, you've got to have stuff mixed in like you're alluding to, I think. One thing that Zappos did that was really interesting and had a major impact on their retention in a pretty tough marketplace that they were dealing with is they implemented a program where they would pay people to leave. And that was a really interesting concept that we haven't implemented, but I've really been toying with how we would do that. And so basically after 3 months, people that they were bringing on board knew right out of the gate that after 3 months, I'm going to have the opportunity to say, like, yeah, this is for me and I want to stay, or they'll pay me, I think it was about a month or maybe 6 weeks of salary to go. And empowering people to have that choice and choose the company after they've had the opportunity to try it out showed that it really reinforced individuals' decisions to have joined the company to begin with, and they really increased their retention by doing that.
Yeah, and for our listeners out there, Zappos I had the good fortune several years ago to see the CEO of Zappos speak at a convention I was at, and they are on the cutting edge of retention and recruitment and culture, and they have really figured it out. So for you to bring that up, Melissa, if they're doing something like that, that is something we should all be paying attention to.
Yeah,
Wow,
absolutely.
That's incredible. So when it comes to the benefit aspect of the job, are people, one of the things that I think has been so common is working from home, remote work environments. Why, Melissa, do you think that is so important for so many people? And why are companies so reluctant to give in on it at times?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. And I've struggled with that myself. So, I think that the emerging workforce has really helped to do a couple of things. I appreciate that they have a much greater appreciation for work-life balance and working to actually live, as opposed to the flip side where, for many years I think that people have been so focused on attaining the next level and getting a better title or a higher salary or whatever the case may be, that they were more living to work. Kind of reversed that. So that kind of, I think, ties into this desire for autonomy and being able to, be comfortable and work other things that other interests into life, really harmonizing. So, for example, sitting in a coffee shop for a few hours before they maybe go hit the gym and then, go back and work from a home office or just being able to be mobile may also relate to attention span. It's nice to change the scenery. And
that's a good point.
Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting concept that I think can work really well. And it is hard for employers to swallow because it's just such a break in the norm when you look back over the way things have been done for 10 years.
Well, Melissa, am I oversimplifying when I say, look, if someone's working from home, if you've established clear objectives, metrics, goals for that person, it becomes an issue of trust. Because I know as a CEO of Managed People myself, I would always question, are you working as hard if you're at home?
Yeah.
But if you have a way to measure the productivity, it should be a non-issue, correct?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Absolutely. And I think part of, you hit it on the head, the real issue is trust.
Right.
And not even not trusting, but not wanting to be in a position as a leader where you're even questioning. So it's just sometimes feels a whole lot easier if you can just see everybody.
So, and then, one more thought before we head into break. There's even though there aren't as many people looking for jobs out there right now as there have been in the past, when we come back from the break, Melissa, I would love to explore what are some shortcomings and trends you are seeing from job seekers. Are they deficient in their communication skills? Are they deficient in their resumes and cover letters? Are they deficient in their confidence and attitude? Would love to know what you're seeing where people are struggling to sell and differentiate themselves in the marketplace. So we're with Melissa Glenny, Franklin Professional Staffing. I'm Mark Altman. This is I Communicate, Finding Your Voice, and we'll be right back.